Yeah, this seems like a keep. Maybe this finally gets to do something great for me. Though it does seem like one of the weaker cards in my deck, because you need to have a legendary on the board still. And most of my legendaries already win the game if they're still on the board. And it will likely only get 1 or 2 things back. But yeah, these cards are such must kills that they will end up dying a lot of the time, and if they don't end up dying, I'm winning the game anyway, so still feel like this is worth running, and especially it's worth trying out early on in the format to see if it can work. If it doesn't work in this deck, it's never going to be good, basically, because this is about as good as you can get in terms of legendary density and legendary quality. Okay, planes would be amazing. Then I have double white available, and I can keep curving out. Red, green, no 2-drop. Okay, yes. That was very fortunate. Pretty close to the best 2 draws in a row that I could have had. Any combination of planes and a 2-drop. Yeah, I think it didn't really get much better for me than those 2 draws. Very fortunate. Wizards, Lightning, or Mesa Unicorn. Sure. I don't think I'm too worried about that. It's kind of an interesting spot, because I can just run this out to make sure I have a 4-drop, and then I can play this on 4. The upside of playing Deathbloom Thalet first, though, is if I draw a mountain, I can search for planes, and if I draw planes, I can search a mountain. And each of those can have a high upside. Yeah, I think I'm actually casting this and just waiting another turn to have a more informed decision on my Skittering Surveyor. It makes my turn 4 a little bit worse. If I just don't draw a land, it works out pretty much the same. And if I do draw a land, I'm not applying as much pressure as I would be with the call. But I think it's alright to give myself the chance to find my splash color. Okay, in that case, I am just getting the planes. I mean, I do have a lot more planes left in my deck than I have mountains. But just casting this on curve seems amazing. Yeah, I think it's like barely planes, but once again, kind of a close decision. Because I need a 5th land to cast Pylyra anyways, and then about half of the time the 5th land is going to be planes anyways. So if I draw like a 3rd planes here, it's pretty bad for me to not have searched for the mountain. Kinda close. 4-2 has to be blocked, sure. I think I have some knights that are fine with having to block that. Well, all of these knights basically. The first strike knights, the vigilance knights. Because of this card, I might just want to run out Knight of Malice instead. But probably it's wasteful to not get my Call the Cavalry on the board because it's so expensive. Yeah, I think even though I'm giving up on 1 token, mana efficiency here seems pretty important, and it's possible my opponent doesn't even want to attack into the Vigilance Knights. And if my opponent holds the attack back, then it's a lot better for me to have cast the Call the Cavalry. Also plays around my opponent putting some kind of aura or enchantment on this Chaos Protector a little bit. If they make it into like a... Well, Menace is pretty bad for me. Like +2/+1 and Menace on this is pretty scary, because then I'm forced into double blocks. Well, I do have a good blocker available now though. And a red-green deck should struggle to deal with that, because most of their removal is like fight spell based. I guess they can have fight with fire and just deal 5 to it right away. But other than that, I think there's very few removal spells that deal with it cleanly. I guess Candle deals with it cleanly, but quite far away from being activatable. They need 2 more lands. Yeah, that should be fine. Kendo does seem pretty great in this format though. From my own experience, it was already pretty impressive. Like, it's very contextual whether such a slow removal spell, such an expensive removal spell is sustainable or not. But so far it seemed to me like this is something that you can afford to do and need to have around to answer your opponent's bombs. So it looks to me like more of a card that you play like 70 to 80% of the time, and not one that you play like 20 to 30% of the time or board in or something. And both of those would be reasonable depending on how the format shakes out. Oh, we have our card pictures back. Now we get this nice little dragon breathing fire on some poor guy. If I swing with everything, does that help? They have 2 blocks, so like here and here. They can have one more like fight spell or something, but they're going to 4. 2 blocks, they're there. Now this blocker is not even favorable. I guess there's their most favorable blocks. Then they take, yeah, so I think swinging with everything is fine. I'm not even under any pressure on like their backswing, and they have to spend their turn 6 on, well, not their turn 6, but their next 6 mana are bound in this candle to get the Lyra off of the board, and then I just make more cavalry tokens, and it's impossible for them to recover this board position. Yeah. Actually think I might be interested in these against my opponent's 4/4. Like red-green mid-range fatty type cards. Maybe it doesn't match up to the red removal spell all that well though. Maybe just divest. Artifact or creature card. Yeah, they had Kendo already though. I guess the Kendo lands on the board very often. So I guess also we discussed whether you want to run out Kendo on turn 1 if you have it in hand, or keep it in hand to hide the fact that you have it available from your opponent. So against black decks, or maybe just as long as you don't know what your opponent is playing, it seems like it's always correct to run it out so that it doesn't get divested out of your hand. Because the downside of giving your opponent that information is not that big, and getting it divested kind of depends on the rest of your hand. If there's like a better thing that they could be taking, maybe holding the Kendo back is fine. But if your hand is like weak creatures and a Kendo, then I think you should always run it out on turn 1. That's an interesting thing to figure out and to pay attention to. I guess Goblin Barrage is like the good answer to the 4 mana 4/4. But I think I'm kind of good on that front. Maybe take this out, because it's already difficult for them to deal with my legends, and I don't think many of them are going to end in the graveyard at the same time. Yeah, that's pretty lucky that your opponent decided to play bad cards against you. So I guess he's correct. Just tell him that. That's gonna make them less tilted. Okay, I'll try out the divest, I think, just as a cheap interactive card to get my opponent's oversized green creatures out of their hand before they cast them. Yeah, that also makes a lot of sense. Ignoring is like the second best option, or maybe the best option actually. Wait, they chose to draw? Chooses to not play first. Okay, I appreciate it. Because with this deck I'm much more worried about being run over in the early game than I am about card advantage, because my card quality is so high. I guess if they let me play first, it means they have to beat one less unbeatable card, because I'm at like 1 fewer cards for a while, but seems alright with me. Against the red-green aggressive deck, I'm pretty happy to be on the play. I'll gladly do that every time. Like, if I lose this game, I'm definitely choosing to be on the play again, even if my opponent seems to disagree. That's not bad for them, though. But my mana is working perfectly here. I have some, like, a good removal spell and a good finisher. Pretty decent spot to be in. Blue splash, interesting, and a pretty underwhelming card. I don't have any equipment, so this is literally just a grizzly bear. Well, not literally, but you know what I mean. It's just going to be a 2-mana 2/2 with no upsides. That's not really something I'm worried about. In my deck that can make 2/2 tokens, it has a bunch of first strikers on the ground, and a lot of more impactful cards. Not really sure what the blue splash means though. Most of the blue cards are kind of underwhelming. I don't think like deep freeze or that type of card is really something you want to be splashing. Like in Bolas's Clutchless is the best blue card, but it's double blue. So not something that you can easily splash, and I didn't really see much fixing from my opponent. Maybe they did board in deep freeze because they need to beat the Lyra. That would actually make sense from a red-green deck. Yeah, I think I'll take it. Not run into the +4/+4 here. I see manipulator, that's a good one. But like these cavalry tokens hold off the ooze on the ground, and my Serra Angel can start flying over. Forces my opponent into icy manipulatoring it down every turn, so. Okay, second blue. Maybe there were actually more blue, like a blue-green deck with a red splash, or they switched into that. In Bolas's Clutches would be pretty insane against me. So I hope that that's not the card that they switched over to. Oh, that Tatyova again. She's also pretty sick though. Just looks like something I'll shoot down on side here. Oh, I forgot about that mode. Destroy target artifact also seems pretty good here. I think I just want to get the Tatyova off of the board because it also allows my knights to attack. But destroying the Icy Manipulator is actually not unreasonable here, because it means my Serra Angel can fly over every turn and not be disrupted. Yeah, nice ooze, trading for half of my card. I mean, sure. I mean, if you need the curve filler, it's alright to have it in your deck. It's just very bad against my deck, specifically. Yeah, not sure on this, destroying the Icy Manipulator. If they hit a bunch of land drops with this on the board, I would regret that decision. Yeah, if they're like missing their land drop as they did here, I would have been much happier to get the Icy off of the board. And we got the Candle. Arbor Armament, Wizard's Lightning. Damn, they actually bluffed me for 2 points of damage. That's unfortunate. Now I guess they could have Wizard's Lightning to like trade the ooze and the lightning for my angel, so they might have not bluffed me. But it's still unfortunate. So second red allows me to fight with fire for 9 mana, and triple black allows me to Yuzu Vest for 10 mana. 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I think I just grabbed the mountain. Because until I find Yuzu Vest, there's a decent chance I found a third black already. Yeah, I still need another land anyway, so. Yeah, against my opponent's hand I really would have loved to have just destroyed the Ice Manipulator. It's unfortunate. Arbor Armament is a lot worse when your opponent knows about it though. Does allow my opponent to dodge the 4 damage, like the Burst Lightning with Kicker on the Spyleth Gorger though, by making it into a 5 toughness creature. Okay, they shoot down my 2/2, so my call the Cavalry got a clean 2-for-1 out of my opponent. Icy Manipulator still ruling the board though. Well, that's a great draw, but pretty awkward. That it was the one that I didn't fetch the land for, and now it shows up. Maybe I just want to play it, but it doesn't actually block all that well, because they can just attack it in and then grow it into a 5/5. But it's also pretty close to just killing my opponent if I cast it. Kind of close between casting it and holding onto it for the extra swamp. Like, this is exactly the closest situation that I can be in, because I'm at 9, need 10 for this, and I need a swamp, so there's 6 more swamps in my deck. Yeah, I think I just cast it, but it is pretty close, because if I hit the swamp and then cast it, it's just going to win the game on the spot. But if I don't cast it and miss on the swamp for a while, then it could also just completely backfire for me. I don't know. Pretty close spot. Kicker is just such a great mechanic. Puts you in so many close decisions where you have to evaluate your cards in 2 different ways and weigh risk and reward of each line of play against each other. Really enjoy what Kicker does to the format. Really don't enjoy what my opponent's doing to me though. If they attack, I think they should have attacked. If they attack and no, I guess they have 2 blockers now, so I can't even attack them back. Yeah, maybe not attacking was alright. Yeah, it was probably just correct, because they have the double block available now. So it was already reasonable for me to have played it. I prevented 4 damage already, because I don't have a block here, because of the Arbor Armament that I know is in my opponent's hand. But they didn't want me to take the 4 damage and then attack back for 4 damage while they were tapped out. Oh god. Probably priced into double blocking this, but I don't like my spot there either, because I don't have a lot of good things going on for myself. Yeah, I don't know. I think I need to get my opponent's board down a little bit. Can't double block this. They still need to spend their +1/+1 here. And obviously I need to hope they don't have a second instant in hand that does something. Oh my fucking god. 2 cards in hand. One of them I knew about. Oh, that's so sick. I think I'm just dead now. Don't really know what I should... what I could draw against the Icy Manipulator. That's so sick. I guess that's a reasonable start. Just this into another removal spell on the following turn. Something that I can draw. Because I need to have 2 blockers on the board. If they tap this down and then tap my other blocker down, I can't even block this. I need straight up removal spells. Wow, that's sick. I do have Fight with Fire left in my deck that could help me. I have a Settle the Score in my deck that could help me. Call the Cavalry stores out the board for another turn, but doesn't truly help me. Yes! Okay, still in a tough spot, because any 2-power creature my opponent can have. But that was a pretty insane series of draws, where I was basically on a 1-outer, no, a 2-outer the first turn, and then on a 1-outer the second turn. Or pretty close to it. No, I guess Fight with Fire would have still helped, but... well, land for a turn helps me a little bit, but that means they get a creature next turn. Well, at least casting this, or keeping the Yosuvess in hand wouldn't have worked out, but searching the third swamp would have worked out now that I've drawn Yosuvess. That is pretty unfortunate, though Fight with Fire does end the game here for me, just deal 10 to them. Yeah, Hexproof Angel would be super sick. Well, yeah, it does only give Hexproof to the Serra Angel. It itself can still be tapped down. So they could tap down Serra Angel for one turn in response to my Angel, but then afterwards this can start attacking. My best draw is just Fight with Fire, of course. The Hexproof Angel would be alright. Okay, so they have a bounce, but it costs 5 mana at the moment. Well, they have the 5th mana, okay. Well, so now I need another removal or another creature, because they can't Icy on my turn at least. Creature. Yeah, that's not bad. Keeps me alive for the turn. Yeah, I'm drawing well out of a pretty terrible position after my opponent drew well to put me into that terrible position with the second Wizard's Lightning. Still have one game-winning card and a bunch of cards that help me stabilize. Come on, opponent. Don't be like that. Fight with Fire, come on. God damn it. My streak of insane top decks finally ended. Man, that's annoying. Yeah, I just drew 12 lands to their 9. And they had the instant speed to disrupt my double block when I needed to double block. There wasn't even a wait for me to play around. It just was like, if they draw that instant, they get me. Invoke the Divine seems pretty decent. Just to get the Icy Manipulator off of the board. Man, why did they have to reprint Icy Manipulator? That card's so dumb. Yeah, I don't know. It seems pretty unreasonable to me, but who knows? I mean, obviously, whenever it's on your side, it's a great card, but so damn annoying. And my deck is not well set up against it. Just a bunch of fatty creatures that are weak to being tapped down. What do I want to take out for this? Or do I want to take something out for this? I do have Divest, which just seems great, because it both takes the Icy Manipulator and the Candle and my opponent's bigger creatures. Yeah, I remember. I mean, I didn't play at that time, but I remember hearing about that combo being a combo. I mean, it would still be a combo if both of those cards were in the set right now. I think it's not unreasonable to call that a combo still. I don't know about this. Maybe I should even have the Excavation Elephant, because it's kind of a good blocker against opposing 4/4s. They also had like 5/5s though. A lot of their 4/4s and 3/3s and all that had kicker, so it becomes easy for them to go over the top if I stall out the board. Yeah. Their deck does seem pretty great. I think mine is still better and also reasonably well set up for the matchup overall. But that was a pretty unfortunate game. Still think I want to be playing first. Yeah, I think this is a keep, but pretty awkward hand not having double black available yet. Pretty sad that if I had fetched Swamp with this, I would have just won. But it was just like a coin flip. If I had gotten the Mountain and I draw Fight with Fire, then it wins me the game on the spot because my opponent was at 9 life, and I could deal 10 to them. And if I get this, if I get the Swamp and I draw the Fight with Fire, I feel bad about it. And then I got the mountain and drew this, and I felt bad about it. It was kind of like one card each to make it good or bad, and it was equally likely to draw the right one and the wrong one. And this is a lot better without double black than the fight with fire without double red would have been. So I think I liked my decision still, but it was unfortunate that that I ended up on the wrong side of the coin flip and it ended up backfiring. Yeah, for sure, I might be able to get Icy out of their hand with Divest. They have a ton of good creature targets as well, so Divest should be good in any case. Oops, no. No. That was kind of a, not recalibrating fast enough misclick. Should obviously play Swamp, and then I have Yozu Vest on turn 4, and things are a lot better for me. Maybe I do still want to divest, but I think I was just incorrect. This does allow me to still get Icy before they can play it, but probably just this on curve is a better thing to be doing. Divination discard to hand size? Sure. That's also a reason not to be on the draw. If your curve is too high and you're relying on divinations. Dark Bargain would be a lot more mana efficient way of using my mana. But I think I do want to check their hand for IC. Oh, they're super flooded with a Tatyova, Homerid Explorer. Okay, that's not something I really care about. It's not even a wizard. Sure. Top 4 cards. Okay, they can mill me for 4, that actually isn't that bad for me. Okay, I think I'll take the Tatyova, even though they can cast this on curve and they can't cast this for the time being, but it still seems like the Tatyova is just way better for them. I don't really care about a 4 mana 3/3 that mills me for a little bit. Who cares? I boarded out my reanimation spell though, so that's a little bit sad that if they mill me I could have otherwise taken advantage of the mill. Not sure if they're hitting themselves with it. They are milling me. Okay, I hit a bunch of non-legendaries, so... Well, I do have the returns from the graveyard to hand if you cast a historic spell though, so the fact that they're milling me could actually have backfired still. Not a great choice for my opponent. I think my hand is strong enough to just shift and fire this down and next turn bargain into Malice and then set up for this winning me the game. This guy is also kind of irrelevant, but it's just very mana efficient to shift and fire it down this turn. Okay, I think I still will do that, but it's kind of a wasteful usage of my mana. I don't know. Wasteful usage of my removal spell. Very good usage of my mana. Because it makes my next turn like a clean 6 mana spent, even if I don't draw into something better. And I can potentially use this card draw spell to build up to the 10 mana if my opponent tries to Icy Manipulator me out or have the Wizard's Lightning to kill my smaller creatures. I don't know. The 4-5 menace would also be pretty great. The game could have already been decided if I just cast this on turn 4, but multiple misplays / weird sequencing led to that not being the case. And I think now I'm just kind of pricing myself into going for the late game usage instead, which my opponent's decks should be unable to beat. Yeah, lightning was obvious. I think I just cast this now so it doesn't get countered. There's the Phantom that I was talking about. Still think I will take it to hand at the moment because I don't have a great historic spell to trigger it with. I have this, but it costs double black, so I don't have the black mana available to return my Lingering Phantom necessarily. That is pretty annoying. Well, I only really need to survive to 10 mana and then the game ends, so can try this double block, and I don't know about any cards in my opponent's hand that they can blow me out with. Let's see, they had 4. Also, mixed artwork islands is pretty sketchy. But I guess most of these cards are gone now that I knew about. Yeah, I think they just played all of the cards that I knew about by now. Not sure about they had 3 in play going into 4, so like 4 more lands played. Yeah, I think all the cards that I knew about are now gone. I can disrupt the double block pretty easily, but I can also get this back. Yeah, I think I will still try the double block. Keeps my opponent busy for a while. And if it works, then it's amazing. Yeah, pretty happy with that. Sure. 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I wait one more turn, I can kill everything, or just kill this and then wait 2 more turns for my Yozu Vest. Both seem pretty reasonable. 10 to the board, yeah. This is super bad if I run into a counter spell, but I think dealing 10 distributed how I like it is worth taking 6 damage for. Right. 6 and 3, yeah, so 9 mana. I have 8 available. So best case they just play like another 4/4 or something, or 5/5. Worst case they kick something for a 7/7. Okay, that's alright with me. That can die as well. No counter spells, please. Wait, can't I do any target? Yeah, I can. So 1, 2, 5. Wait, no. 5, 1, 2. What? What the hell? I can't see how much damage I'm doing. That's so annoying. Come on, Modo. Can I like make this bigger or something? So terrible. What the hell? This doesn't even help. Like there's, I mean, I can see how. 5, 1, 2. What the hell? Okay, now this should work. Yeah, okay, so I can 5, 1, 2. This is 8, and then I should be dealing 2, but there's no way for me to see how much I'm dealing here. Can I type into 2? I don't know. I think this works now, but how do you program this shit? Let's see, like, this doesn't help. This doesn't help. And like, this doesn't help. Like, the arrow is always in front. Now I completely ruined like my Modo layout, but who cares really? Can I pop out the graveyard or something? No. This is, what? What? I mean, sure, I can like subtract the amount that I have on the board and then the rest is dealt to them, but like if I want to adjust this with arrows or something, no, Arena seems pretty bad as well, but they're still working on it. Maybe it gets improved. All of this just to run into a counter spell now and die or something, but hopefully not. Wait. Okay, I assume I'm still dealing damage to them, but it doesn't show up either. Okay, I did manage to deal 2 damage to my opponent. I would have been very unhappy now if I dealt 0 or something in that whole like fixing it process. What the hell? Now my Modo is in a weird place. Sit for each instant whenever a creature. Yeah, okay. Still seems very good, and I recur the Lingering Phantom while I wait for my 10th land, so that this just wins the game on the spot. That was still pretty amazing, this fight with fire. Just the UI issues that came with it were a little frustrating. What the hell? Unreal. Yeah, Corrosive Ooze is fine with me. Yes. I have some 2/2s to deal with your 2/2. 8 of them to be exact. This card's just so broken, holy moly. I mean, it's my second seed of having it in a row. It's a complete joke how good this card is. What were they thinking? I mean, it's not quite Tetsimok level, because, like, on curve it still dies to a lot of removal, and 10 mana is quite a lot of mana, but, like, the flexibility of it is so insane. And both of the modes are difficult to beat. What the hell? This is just not a realistic Magic card. Yeah, that is true, though Draft is coming to Arena. Well, not really.